The opening game of the new Premier League season kickstarts tomorrow at 4:30 PM UK time against Liverpool. And for me, my friends, I feel like this opening game is about to hit a little bit differently right now. Currently, we are battling Liverpool on all fronts. We're battling them on the ball level. We're battling them for transfer targets. And this Sunday, we are set to battle these men on the field. It's not been the best week for Liverpool. Can we make their week even worse by beating them at home tomorrow? Pochettino is set to take control of his first game at Stamford Bridge in front of the fans. And there wouldn't be a better way for him to start his management with us by picking up 3 points against Liverpool. So my friends, in today's match preview, I'm going to go through match build up. What should we expect from Liverpool? I'm going to go through the key points from the press conference. I'll talk predicted lineup against Liverpool. And at the end, I'll give my final match prediction too. So I hope you guys are ready for what's set to be an epic, exciting Premier League season. I hope you guys definitely enjoy it. It's been an absolute mazza this week, and may it culminate in us getting 3 points against Liverpool tomorrow evening. So my friends, hit that like button, and without wasting any more time, now to start with things, let's assess quickly how both teams performed during pre-season. As you can see, we played 5 games, we won 3, drew 1. We scored 13 goals and we conceded only 5. And when we compare that to Liverpool's record, they played 5 games, they only won 3. 1 draw, 1 loss, scored 18 goals, but they conceded 13. What does this tell us exactly about Liverpool? Well, during pre-season, 17 goals came from their front 3, only 1 goal came from an outfield position, and that was Van Dijk. Liverpool's attack absolutely cooked during pre-season. Their production was out of this world. Their front 3 is growing connections and understandings. They look devastating on the transition. They have the skill and awareness to create openings for themselves to take shots, and they score goals equally across all front 3 attacking positions. However, for all their good possession, for all their good attacking output, they have not improved defensively from last season. And now you can understand why they've been so desperate to sign either one of Romeo Lavia or Moses Caicedo, because after losing Henderson and Fabinho, they do not have those midfield enforcers. They're getting done out by simple balls over the top, simple counter-attacks out wide, and losing the midfield battle before getting transitioned against. Now, Klopp has experimented by using guys like McAllister and deeper roles. He's tried to use Trent Alexander-Arnold in midfield at times as well too, but for every solution he's trying to find, nothing is coming to fruition. And for me, this is where we need to take advantage, yeah? Now, we did concede some goals ourselves, but most of the time, that came from when youthful players were playing in the game. When we had a full strength lineup, one thing we saw under Pochettino is that we play as a pack, as a unit, as a team. The gaps between our defense, midfield and attack, they are extremely compact, and Pochettino sets us up using a mid block. We stay in this block when we defend off the ball, when we build up, and most importantly, when we attack as well too. And we've looked very dangerous on the transition ourselves, with Mudryk and Nico Jackson spearheading attacks. With the pace we have up front, with the skill as well too, I feel like we can create opportunities now against Liverpool and take advantage of their poorest defense, take advantage of their poorest midfield. At the same time, we are not perfect ourselves. But for me, I think the strategy is, let's give away a little bit possession to Liverpool and pick these guys off on the transition. I think that's the best way to approach this game. I think this is the best way to approach this game, considering that this is Pochettino's first game of the season and you want to set the precedent. And the best way to set that precedent is by picking up a win in your first game. So my friends, that's some of the build up out of the way. Let's dissect the key talking points now from the press conference. Naturally, Pochettino is very excited to take control of his first game as our new manager against Liverpool tomorrow. We learned why Pochettino picked Reece James as this season's new captain. And as Pochettino said, Reece James is the perfect player to give the armband to. He has the quality, he has the character to match. He is the present as well as the future, and in my opinion, and I'm sure in all our opinions, he was by far the best candidate to take over from Azpilicueta. So I'm extremely proud that a Cobham grad, of course, has taken that captaincy. Now, with both clubs fighting it out to try and sign Caicedo and Lavia, naturally we had to get some words, but in typical Pochettino fashion, he kept things very coy. As he said, I'm very respectful. If I don't have a player that belongs to me, I'm not going to talk about him until we actually sign him. But he did reiterate the fact that we need a bit of experience. We need to add to our midfield. We've sold a lot of midfield players, we are still waiting to bring in additions, and he has full faith and trust in our sporting directors and the owners too. Moving on, of course, we discussed the ambitions for this season. We did understand that Pochettino is moving the dugout now to the right hand side by the Matthew Harding lower section, and the reason why he said that is because there is more space, and he gave an example of the famous Battle of the Bridge game against Spurs when that Hazard equaliser, we know how the game went down, and he mentioned that during that whole fiasco there was barely any space to operate in. So I like that he has these little attentions to details. He's a very meticulous manager. And to continue on, he did reveal that yes, we are in transition. He mentioned that it's his first time back in the Premier League after how long? Jurgen Klopp has been here for at least 7 years. But Pochettino said that he anticipates transition. He's prepared for that, and being clever in these moments is key. And that's because the history of our club is to win. Regardless of transition or difficulties or anything, we are in it to win it. And Pochettino does not want to send out any messages creating any excuses or any beta mentalities. He wants to get these guys ready to win, regardless of who's playing on the field, regardless if signings have been made or not. All those details do not matter when you're competing against your opponents to win that game on the field. And Pochettino said that we must fight, we must compete, and we must continue our principles that we have been learning upon over this past month. And for me, that's the best message. He said that we will finish this squad eventually, but our expectations will not change. And I like that he's keeping things positive and he's keeping the mentality high and all the way up here, because the players should be aspiring to the highest mentality here. So they are the key things we learned from the press conference. Now, it is time to discuss and dissect my predicted lineup for the game tomorrow. Now, I'm going to do things a bit differently. I'm kind of envisioning that we may use a 4-3-3 against Liverpool. And obviously both teams have a bit of issues now in their midfield. Both teams do not have that enforcer to really help maintain the intensity, to help secure the middle section of the field. So for those reasons, knowing that Enzo of course is going to play, I want to have more protection in these areas, because I kind of envision that we may look to hit Liverpool on the transition a lot more. So my friends, as you can see on screen, this is the lineup I'm going for. Up front, Mudryk, Nico Jackson and Raheem Sterling. In midfield, 4-3-3 consisting of Andre Santos at the base, Conor Gallagher and Enzo Fernandez. And in defence, of course, Ben, Colwill, Disasi to make his debut, Reece James and obviously Sanchez in goal. Now, because Nkunku is injured, we won't see this guy until January. I feel like we have to play things smarter. I think that the best way, as I said, to set the precedent for the season is by trying to get the 3 points against Liverpool. And we have to be smart and clever, like Pochettino said. To be really sneaky for a second, when we play under Pochettino, it's a very fluid and positionally interchangeable system. So in defense, we defend in a 4-1-4-1. When we build up, it's 4-3-3, and when we attack, it's 4-2-3-1. So it's 3 formations in one. Now to start with defense, I've picked this defense because I want us to be strong in these 1v1 moments, because Liverpool, they will create these 1v1 openings for their attack. Their attack is very dangerous. It's one of the best in the league. I think we need to have pace and make sure that we can keep our shape compact. There's going to be times where our defense has to push their lines up, and I don't want a Thiago Silva maybe dropping a bit deeper, playing anyone offside or stretching our defense. So for me, the best way to maintain the aggressiveness, intensity and compactness of this block and pack that Pochettino has created, that starts with the defense. They set the precedent. So to move on to midfield, Andre Santos for me has to play tomorrow. Now, when I saw this guy play during pre-season, there were kind of two teams, one with Santos and one without. And in games where he played and started, we rarely conceded goals, and that's because Santos, at a very young age, his reading of the game, how he screens the defense, the intensity and the toughness in his tackling as well too. And most importantly, when he receives the ball, my guy's playing 1-touch, 2-touch, very fast, punching balls between the lines to find vertical options in front of him. I think that he has to play to help us try and at least win this midfield battle against Liverpool. And either side, I've gone for Conor Gallagher over Chukwuemeka. Let's not forget you can make 5 subs in the game. I'm sure Pochettino will use every option he has. But I think Gallagher really impressed me too during pre-season. He played different roles. There were certain games where he was at the base of our midfield, helping our build up in a 3+1, and he was very good in those areas. At the same time, You show that goal threat with 2 goals outside the box. He knows how to attack the spaces, and it's like he gets to play more of like a box-to-box role. So I think that if you have Enzo Fernandez, I don't want Enzo to feel too much defensive responsibility, because he is like the glue and the link that's going to combine defense, midfield, and attack. So I think if he has more support alongside him, he can focus more on what he does best, and that's in helping us play forward and bringing those attacking qualities in the final third. And obviously you guys up front. For me, this is probably the best lineup you can pick right now. Of course, Nkunku here. Mudryk, Sterling, these guys will definitely play, especially Mudryk. I'm really excited to see what he does when he can utilize his pace against Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now that Pochettino's system is finding him in more 1v1 areas and moments, this is where Mudryk can play his best football. And knowing that the game plan is going to be to attack these guys in the transition, we're going to need to have to release your Sterlings and Mudryks out wide in those spaces left behind by Liverpool's fullbacks. And obviously, the glue in our attack right now is Nico Jackson. When he drops deeper, midfield players push forwards. When he drifts wide, he kickstarts a counter-attack. And in those wide areas too, this guy has that 1v1 tech to fashion opportunities for himself. And so far, he's proven to be very clinical when in front of goal. You know, that mix of being able to hold the ball up, running behind, take on his opponents. He's a very different type of forwards. And I think it's all about stretching Liverpool's back line. It's all about making those runs in behind. It's all about exploiting our pace against them. And knowing that Nico also does his defensive duties too. For me, it has to be 4-3-3 against them. Obviously, we'll see subs like Augustos, Khans, and all these guys coming on. But I think right now, this is the best team to play against Liverpool. So my friends, share your thoughts and opinions. How do you feel about this? Let us know below. What would you pick, obviously? And now to end things in my match prediction. Now, after everything I've been saying, like, I gotta be a bit realistic, because last season, I was looking back at my previews and I was like, I was still predicting wins. Like, I just couldn't accept our fate last season, and it was really silly at the time. So realistically, I think a 2-2 draw is a very respectable scoreline, knowing the fact that we can kind of cancel each other out. But at the same time, both teams are kind of a little bit weak in midfield. They aren't fully optimum in those areas, and it's going to be very hard for either team to really enforce their game on one another, knowing that their midfields can't necessarily outright win that midfield battle. So for me, I think we can get goals against them. They're very porous. I mean, conceding 13 goals in pre-season, but at the same time, I do think that Liverpool's quality in attack, that can cause us some issues. They're very clinical as well too. They can create spectacular moments. I'm looking at Diaz on the left-hand side. I think Reece James is going to have a very hard game against them. And also too, due to things like injuries and not finalizing all our business in the window, I don't think we have as many spectacular game-changing options to turn to from the bench. So, you know, I could even see us conceding like a last-minute goal, but I do think that both teams will score, and I'm predicting it's going to be 2-2. So my friends, this is the first match preview of the 23-24 season out the way. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys are excited for what I feel is set to be a very exciting season, man. So my friends, I am Nini FC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll see you guys later with some more videos today, so have those notification buttons on. Cool.